Okay, today I'm going to be testing my ML320. I'm going to be doing some electrical tests because well, you can't really tell right now. Well, maybe you can. The headlights are flickering. Problem being, the headlights, they're not supposed to flicker. Right now the headlights are on, but this being a Canadian car, we have daytime running light mode, which means that as long as the car's in gear, the headlights and tail lights will all come on in low beam. You won't have access to your high beams, but all the headlights, all your running lights will be on at all times. Other problem, I had to start this car in neutral. The daytime running lights come on. So first thing I'm checking is battery voltage. As I get closer to the car, you're going to hear, it's going to sound like a diesel for some reason. And not because my car sounds bad, it's perfectly quiet, but the camera picks up. So I'm checking my voltage, which well running is at 14, and I've got load on. I've got I've got the headlights, the rear defroster, and the seat heaters on, so it's putting quite a bit of load on the battery. I pulled the fuse box off so we can go over here, and oh, first thing I'm listening to is I hear something buzzing in here. Electrical contact opening and closing, which is exactly what a relay is going to do. Headlight relay is, aha, that's buzzing. I don't know if you can hear that. Let's turn the car off and see if you can hear it. 1 second, I'll turn the car off. So that's odd. With the car off, it's no longer buzzing. This is no longer buzzing or vibrating. And my headlights are on constant. There's no flickering anymore. So either we have an alternator problem or we have a ground problem somewhere. Possibly with the alternator, possibly with the engine grounding. I am going to do something. I'll be back in 1 second. I'm going to charge my camera first too, because I haven't done this before I came out, and that battery is really low. And when the battery goes low on this camera, it goes into black and white mode. So I'm going to charge this back in 1 second. Okay, I've done quite a few tests. I pulled the headlight off looking for ground. I've checked all the ground straps under the car, the ground wire connections, there's tons of them. They're all 11 millimeters. There's one right here. Just basically find all your brown wires if you're looking for a ground. That's what Mercedes uses under the headlamp. There's one right there. Oh, right there. Pointing to there. See the brown wires going up to it. Another one on that side under the... I checked everything. I've added a ground strap to the engine. I just added an extra ground with a cable to a metal part of the engine. Hooked it to the ground on the battery. No difference. Used an ohm meter and checked the resistance between the negative battery cable and the engine. No resistance, so there's basically good ground going to the engine, so it's not that. And now that I've got everything under load in the car with like 13.6 volts, it should be a little higher. It should be close to 14. I'm thinking my voltage regulator is going out. I'm pretty sure that's what it is on the alternator. Don't want to replace a whole alternator, you can just replace the regulator. They're like 20 bucks. The relay is no longer buzzing. Pulled it out, checked it with one of the other relays. All these yellow ones are the same. So I popped this one out, replaced it with that one. It was still buzzing. Unfortunately, I didn't film it because my camera was still dead. So everything is fine. Electrically, I can't find a single problem. Now the headlights are no longer going on and off, but oddly enough, my DRLs, my daytime running lights, are not functioning as they should. The lights work, they're not flickering anymore. Very strange situation. So I think it is my voltage regulator, because now that the car is warmed up, everything is fine, but the voltage is a little low on the battery. It should be reading about 14 volts right now. I'm going to do a quick battery test after this. I'm going to put a battery load tester on the battery with the car off, and we'll check the battery, but I don't think it's the battery, but we might as well do that while we're here. Okay, engine's off and the battery is reading 13.1 volts, which is about where it should if you've got a good alternator. When you first shut your car down after running for a bit, if your alternator's good, just being over 13 volts is where it should stay. It should even out around 12.7 after sitting and draining off. It's not going to keep that peak charge around 13.1, 13.2. I'm going to pull the electrical tester off. I'll set up this camera, and then we're going to be using a battery tester, which is just basically two two cables that go in between. In here, there's like an electric heating element. And when you push the button, it draws a lot from the battery, and then you read the little gauge, and it will tell you whether your battery's good or not. Back in a second. Okay, the battery load tester's hooked up, and it's showing that the battery is good. 12 volts, fully charged, and when I hit the button, it is going to add a serious draw to the system, and then show whether, when the battery is under a huge draw, like when you're starting the car, whether it's okay, bad, weak, whatever. So we're still in the green zone. We are still okay. You don't hold this button in too long because there's an electrical heating coil in there that heats up. And the longer you hold it, the worse it is. So right now I'm still good. I held it for like 10 seconds, which is probably longer than I should have. A lot of heat coming out of there. So I think my battery is good. The battery's only about a year old. It has about 80,000 kilometers on the battery, but kilometers don't usually matter. So I'm suspecting the voltage regulator. Again, this is a $400 to $500 alternator, so you don't want to have to replace the alternator if you don't have to. Usually the bearings, if the bearings are gone, you have to replace the alternator or get it rebuilt. If it's just a charging problem, usually it's just the brushes and the regulator, which is one little bolt-on part. They're like 20, 25 bucks, bolts into the back of the alternator. I think on this one, you can do it in the car. Nah, it's probably easier to take the whole alternator out. So I'm going to order the voltage regulator and change it just for the heck of it for 25 bucks, just to make sure. But again, I cannot find the clue to my flickering light system. I've checked all the grounds. I've checked the grounds inside the car underneath the dashboard. All my grounds are good. All my electrical connections on the lights are good. I pulled this light out. I checked this one. Just can't seem to find anything that's making them flicker. Relays are good. Fuses are all good. Everything's seated properly. So it could be an issue on the all activity module, which is basically the big fuse box out front. Hopefully not. I will let you know. Thanks for watching.